So I'm a woman with ADHD, and I found that out last year when I was 56. So I'd got through most of my life wondering why I didn't sleep very well. I needed to be busy all the time. One job was never enough, always did 2 or 3. One child wasn't enough, needed a good set of 4. I've always kind of filled my life with lots of stimulation, but now I know why. As a younger person, didn't do so well at school, didn't stay in one job for more than 2 or 3 years at a time. Wasn't until I got older, had children of my own, looked at their experience, started noticing that they probably had some differences, watched 3 of my 4 be diagnosed with ADHD, that I kind of took a look in the mirror and thought about myself. So went through a QB test, went to see a psychiatrist, had a diagnosis, trialled medication. Lots of things have changed for me. I can now sleep more regularly. I am less tense internally. I always had a sense of having this constant being switched on. Always had a ball of energy, needed to be doing something. So what I find is that if I'm active most of the time, I balance my time quite well. I tend to be able to manage my life in an okay way. So being a mother of 4 and always working, I've always worked and always studied and always done voluntary work. If I get bored, that's where I start falling into bad habits. So I manage my time quite well. I use a calendar. I have reminders on my phone so I don't forget my medication. I don't miss appointments. I'm in the right place at the right time. We have a family calendar in our kitchen, which means everybody knows where everybody's at. Don't forget birthdays. Remember to get Christmas shopping in enough time. But there's certainly been times in my life when I didn't manage so well. So I recognise that if I'm in an office-based situation, if I have a standing desk, my day works much better and so does my brain. I'm more able to be focused, concentrate better and have less internal tension. I'm much calmer as a person as a result. I notice that being able to regulate my energy levels and my sleep means I don't peak and trough with mood. My relationships and my communication with my family are better. My husband appreciates the fact that I'm more consistent with my medication and my sleep. I used to think it was always him waking me up when it wasn't really, it was my brain. I try to exercise regularly. I cycle more than I try and sit in a car. The more I move, the better I sleep, the better my mood, the more regulated I am. Diet is really important. Being female, you know, we evolve as a species, don't we, us women? From the minute we're born, we peak and trough with different levels of hormones. And in my later 50s, you know, I'm hopefully coming to the end of that journey. But having a bit of an emotional roller coaster combined with ADHD means there's times when I've been more susceptible to worry or mood or getting tetchy or a bit short-tempered. All those things have regulated for me now, possibly because of where I'm at with my age and my cycle, but also having some consistency with my brain chemistry and medication. Being organised as a mum and as a working woman is really important. So prompts, reminders, lists. My phone is my best friend. If my phone doesn't buzz or remind me that something's going to happen in 15 or 20 minutes, sometimes I'll double up and forget about something. I'll just make that cup of tea. I've got time to do this. Running out of time's no fun. I can't tell you the times I've gone and bought whole family tickets for something, put them in a really safe place, couldn't find them, had to rebuy them again. So we have a place for everything. We have a place where we keep important things. We've got a notice board where we pin things up like tickets or important receipts and things. I have things filed away. I now take photos of things and scan them into my computer so we keep everything digitally. I open my mail, it goes straight in the recycling if I don't need it. Set up direct debits and payments for everything, never miss a payment, never in debt, and avoid credit cards, they're nobody's best friend. So hopefully I've been able to share a little bit of my experience. It's never too late to find out, and it's never too late to make things better.
Hyperactive, impulsive, inattentive. These are the traits commonly associated with ADHD. But what if it's not always obvious, especially in girls? I had all these traits, but no one knew until I was diagnosed at the age of 40. I would often end up in arguments with my mum, getting punished, and then crying. When I was put on the spot, I would stutter. I become emotionally withdrawn. In my head, there were a million scenarios and volatile feelings with nowhere to go. When teenage years came, I found it hard to maintain consistent grades. I would stare at a tree outside of the classroom, and when the lessons or the teachers got boring, I would fall asleep at the back of the class. It was then difficult to catch up when I couldn't remember what we learned in class all year. Exams were a mad panic to cram everything in the night before. And teachers questioned why I was failing my exams when I was a school prefect, and I seemed bright. I was confused myself. Then I was dropped to the lowest set for science, almost failing out of school. This was the exact moment things turned around for me. When I was 16, my biology teacher looked at me in the eye and told me, "You have to give yourself a chance." There was something empowering in the way she said it, putting the choice back in my court to do something about my life. I developed ways to hack my systems so I could somehow focus and retain the memory of what I learned to get through the exams. I went on to graduate, top of my genetics class in university, won a Young Scientist Award, and got the Prime Minister's scholarship to do my postgraduate in the UK. But moving to the UK was a major transition in my life, leaving the familiarity of my family home with none of the routine or anyone to check on me. While I had some really fun years, undiagnosed ADHD caused some broken relationships, trusting the wrong people, and going down the wrong paths. That by the time I graduated with a PhD, I decided to leave science altogether. I felt so lost. After each job I quit, either out of boredom or when I wasn't learning anything new, I fell into depression. I would withdraw for a few months and then come back with a new project full of enthusiasm and look to connect with others. When that fizzled out, I took on another job, and I actually liked that job and overperformed. So you can imagine the disappointment I felt when my manager denied my flexible working request following the birth of my daughter. Corporate burnout, depression, anxiety, panic attack, chronic overwhelm, and social anxiety. I had them all. It's only when I was diagnosed at 40 that I was able to look back and connect the dots. And I've spoken to so many others diagnosed later in life who are in the same shoes. Undiagnosed ADHD is only one part of the puzzle. The way ADHD intersects with trauma, crisis, gender, ethnicity, culture, society, and even your hormonal cycle determines your life outcome.
The ADHD brain has reduced levels of neurotransmitters that carries the signal from one part of the brain to the other,
affecting our ability to regulate our attention and emotions, to plan, control impulses, retain information, amongst others. So getting the right diagnosis, support, and educating those around you will help you rebuild your self-esteem and unlearn all the dubious things you tell yourself. Having personally experienced how my life turned around when I focus on what I do well, I can tell you how working to your strengths can change your life. Dr. William Dodson, who spent decades working with adults with ADHD, describes the ADHD brain as a brain difference, one that works perfectly well by its own set of rules. We have an interest-based nervous system, one where we can engage perfectly when doing a task that we consider as authentically interesting to us, one that is novel, challenging, urgent, or is something we're passionate about. And that's why we can be a tidal force of nature when we have a mission we believe in, one that constantly keeps us on our toes and is teaching us something new. Finding out I have ADHD at the age of 40 has given me hope for what lies ahead. It helped me write a new chapter, and I hope you will have the chance to write yours.